hearing that apparently today at the 1 o'clock show that people have been making dens in their lounge, or like their own kind of like theatres that they've been watching the show in, which I think is a really lovely idea. And you know, I never imagined when we were making this show that this is the way that that lots and lots of children would see it for the first time. That wasn't my intention. I never thought that would be the case. And I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to get the show videoed before this situation went into lockdown, so that we can share it like this now. And I think if kids are sitting in their front rooms watching this show and getting some pleasure out of that during this situation, then I'm totally thrilled. If it makes you even think that, you know, maybe you don't go to the theatre normally and it's something that you might like to try in the future, then that is my job done for the whole year. Maybe, you know, maybe I can just sit back and enjoy this lockdown now, because actually that's something that Can't Sit Still, we always say that we really want to do, to get people to maybe consider theatre if they don't normally. So thanks to anybody who's watched it this afternoon, and I hope you really enjoyed it. Hope you had a great time. And yeah, thanks Chris for making such a great book for us to adapt.
No, it's all no, the theatre show is just amazing. I mean, it's really beyond all my expectations. Just absolutely fantastic show. We got a comment in from someone earlier, and their daughter watched it and watched the second show and was amazed by it, and said, you know, it was very different from anything she'd seen on TV and stuff. And Kat was like, I can't believe that. But really, for me, it really is like, if you haven't seen a theatre show, and one such great quality as this, all of the sort of different, the language of theatre is very different from the language of film and other media that we're used to. And like my first experience of theatre and clowning, I went up to Edinburgh with a flatmate who was a clown, and she took me to all these clown shows, and I was just blown away. It was so inspiring for me to see this, and it reminds me of Kat's show, this theatre piece. And I could imagine lots of people who've never seen theatre before seeing this and going, wow, I love this. This is something totally new. And yeah, I think it's a really, could be a really positive thing for, you know, like a new audience coming to this. So yeah, fingers crossed.
So talking of new audiences coming to this, so if people have just joined us, welcome. My name's Caroline Anstey. I'm from Pavilion Dance Southwest. We've got two guests today post the Oh No George show. That's Chris Haughton, who wrote the book Oh No George, and Kat Boot, who is the director of Can't Sit Still, who've actually produced the show that you may have just watched. So we're going to have a bit of a chat to find out about how the book came to be, and then how the show came to be. So if we open with you, Chris, if you can sort of give us a bit of a history about Oh No George, that would be amazing.
Yeah, my name's Chris, and I wrote the book Oh No George, and I've written 5 books. You can see some of them here. And Oh No George was the second book I wrote, actually. The first book was about an owl called A Bit Lost, and actually I've been told the second book is like it's the difficult second album. It's I'd spent years trying to make a first picture book, and that was A Bit Lost, and then I got that published, and then my publisher said, okay, that's great, you've got 6 months to do the next one. And I was saying, what? You know, I took 5 years doing the first one. So I was very nervous, and I asked them to extend it. Eventually it was extended to 2 years. But anyway, so I actually have I found the sketchbook that I began the story. Where is it? So these are the very first sketches of what sort of became Oh No, George. And then
Wow.
I was drawing on pages. There's these are one of the first things as well. This is
Lovely.
George. This is the cake. And cat. So that's kind of how it worked, and I was coming up with this is some of the very first texts. What was really helpful was thinking of like a kind of a refrain, you know, oh no, George. So I wanted something. I had this idea that, you know, the dog is sort of torn. Oh, I said I'd be good, but I really want to eat that cake. And then you turn the page and he's eating the cake. That was kind of the initial idea. But I wanted something to be said when you turn that page. That's sort of a thing where you can cry out, oh no, or so I just came up with oh no, George, and then that's kind of how the story took shape.
I must ask you, so George, why George?
I don't know. I just came up with oh no, and I was just writing down oh no, George. I just thought make it a silly name for a dog. You know, it's unusual that a dog would be called George. And I always meant to kind of go back and change the name. I just thought it was just a placeholder. But then when I came to sort of changing the name, I couldn't, because his name was George, you know, and then like he already existed. So I couldn't really, it was a kind of a funny thing. But I intended to sort of change the name, but I couldn't change it. And then after I did those sketches and I showed them to my publisher makes these just draft kind of dummy books, they call them. And so this is just to sort of, well, they do it to sort of sell to other languages and different things like that. But a lot of it is actually quite similar, looking back on it. But it's very sketchy. So, you know, some are more developed, like that. But a lot of it came out in a very similar way. You know, it's quite, the pagination is pretty similar to how it came out in the end. So this is the second dummy book, and that's some of the images there. So that's I think that's
how you came about.
Maybe I'll hand over to Kat.
Sure. So Kat, you know, you read this book to your daughter, is that right? And sort of fell in love with it. How did it become the dance show that it is today?
Well, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a dance show. I would say it's a physical theatre show with a little bit of circus, which is the way that we kind of roll it, can't sit still. And yeah, so I was reading it to my daughter, who was 3 at the time, as a bedtime story, and immediately kind of had this just lovely dream in my head about like, this would be so fun to adapt for stage. It would be so fun to just do a huge chase scene where the cat and George were chasing in the audience and they were knocking everything over. So I was just kind of having this little dream about it. And when I have ideas for shows, I sort of sometimes say, okay, well that idea is going to go into the bottom drawer of my chest of drawer of ideas that I have in my head. So this idea just sat in that bottom drawer for a bit. And then there were 2 theatres, the Ark in Stockton-on-Tees and the Civic in Barnsley, and they were looking to commission a show, for a children's theatre show for February half term. And because I'd had this idea about adapting this book, I kind of really quickly got in touch with Chris and just said, hey, you don't know me at all, but I'd love to make a show out of your book. And Chris like replied within like 24 hours, just going, yeah, cool, that sounds great. So we kind of started talking, and then the Arc and the Civic really liked the idea. So that all happened, and we got funding from Arts Council England, who are complete dudes, and we love them. And you know, sort of a year later, the show was on stage and on tour, and it was, you know, it was really fun to work on. The story was so fun. It is so fun that rehearsals were also like really playful, and everybody who's involved, so from the performers to the designer who created the how it looks on stage, to the lighting designer, to the composer who made the music, you know, everybody was like contributing little ideas to, you know, how we could kind of make it happen. And all of our ideas were kind of just a bit silly and a bit surreal, but we quite liked that direction. And I kind of felt after, you know, because Chris and I had chatted a bit, that was something that he was interested in too, and that the book allowed us to do, was to kind of have these silly surreal moments that hopefully you saw if you just watched it online. So every time somebody added in something to the mix that was kind of like, this might be a really stupid idea, but why don't we throw glitter when the bin opens? And so I'd be like, yes, we're doing it. That was the designer's idea. And I was like, yeah, I love it, let's keep it.
I love those, the very funny, surreal things, like, you know, I mean, that whole sequence at the beginning, the drop the ball thing, it's just so, I mean, it's perfect. You just see the character as a dog. Then you know, it's just, okay, this is a dog, and then running behind, and then coming out with a larger ball for no reason. But then, like, I mean, that it's the sort of thing where like an audience that isn't used to theater is like going, what? I mean, you can't do that. And then, but you can, and it happens, and it's so funny. And then when you go around the second time, it's even funnier, because it's like, well, this is a huge buzz. You know, it's so surreal and playful and funny that I'm sure this is the reason that this young girl who became obsessed with seeing it today, this is what makes that so unique, is because it's so like left field. And so, I mean, it's pure clown, it's pure clowning. And a lot of children don't see that. I certainly didn't see it until I was about 25 and went to the Edinburgh Fringe, and my mind was blown. And you know, I grew up in the suburbs in Dublin, you know, but it just didn't, never went to theatre, like maybe sort of pantomime thing, but it wasn't anything like this. And so, yeah, I'm sure it's just amazing to see, and I'm sure there's a lot of very inspired young children after today.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say,
just to say, yeah, you know, obviously this is available for, you know, a couple of viewings today, but the show, you know, is due to go on after the, you know, COVID sort of experience that we're all having, and it will be live and available live again. So have you got news on that?
Yeah, so the show's due to go back out next autumn 2021. We were going to do that anyway, but now it's a great opportunity for us to visit all of the venues that unfortunately were cancelled. So we're really excited about that, and it's hopefully going to go to, you know, more places for longer, play to bigger audiences, because I think what we realized through, you know, when you make a show, you know, you don't know if it's going to be very good. And at Christmas this year, I had like quite a few sleepless nights, because I was like, what if it's terrible? And then actually, as rehearsals went on and as we got closer to the show opening, I started to go, oh yeah, actually, I think this really works. You know, I think this will be really good. So we're really happy that that it will have a future life. and we're really happy that people have been able to see it today, maybe who are going to be coming along to PDSW and now couldn't, and hopefully other people, you know, who are in countries all across the world, I don't know, who would never have had a chance to see it on this tour anyway, have also been able to dip in and have a little look. So that's great.
And there's still things that people can kind of get involved with Oh No George, isn't there? Because I believe you've got a Facebook competition.
Yes, so we are running a Facebook competition. So Chris and the lovely people at Walker gave us this amazing prize. So you can win one of each of Chris's books, including the latest one, which is a hardback, plus a special print from Goodnight Everyone. So we've got that to give away as an amazing prize, and all you have to do to enter is, if you are a young person, or if you have a young person, or even if you're a slightly older person, you can go on Facebook to our page, which is at Oh No George Comp. And you just enter by either writing us a review of what you thought of the show, or you could draw your reaction to it. You could film a video of yourself being George. You could film yourself doing a dance that was like how the show made you feel. And then at the end of, I can't quite remember when the closing date is, but at some point in the near future, maybe me and Chris will go through all of these entries, and then we will award a worthy winner. So you can keep in touch with us that way.
Fantastic. So lots of things for people to do while they're stuck indoors for Oh No George. So we're nearly finished actually on our time. It seems to have flown by. Any last thoughts from you, Chris?
Do we have any questions this time from the audience?
Yes. Okay. Yes, that's my job, and I wasn't quite ready for it. So talk amongst yourselves.
No, I was wondering if...
I've got some friends in Australia and New Zealand tuning in.
What time is it there? They should be...
No idea. They're early risers. It must be 6 o'clock in the morning. So no real questions actually, but lots of lovely comments. One I've read out to you earlier actually from somewhere else, but I wonder if I can share it with everybody now, about somebody's daughter that who just watched the show actually and said, yeah, she's insanely gripped by this. She never watches TV, always gets bored. She thinks this is the best thing ever. We need some more of this. Thanks for spreading the joy. I think that's probably a nice line for me to...
Yeah, I know. When you first read that out, Kat was like, really? And I was like, no, it's definitely, you know, it's so true. It's such an amazing thing. I'm so glad, Kat. I mean, it's such a, it's a real honor to see happen, and I'm very proud to have some part in it. So thank you for all your work.
Well, thank you too, and like seriously thank you, because everybody who talks to me about the show is like, ooh, how was it working with the author? And I'm just like, it's great. He's such a nice guy.
Do we have a terrible reputation? Do we?
I don't know what the normal experience is, but my experience is great. So thank you for that.
Children's authors, they're awful.
Right, well, thanks everybody. Really, really nice to chat with you all. And for everyone out there who has joined us, yeah, I hope you've had a good time